Right now, the Vikings have $9.6 million in cap space. And if Dalvin Cook is going to be released post June 1st, which you got me, man. All right, listen. I am pleading, begging the national media, please, enough of the daily Dalvin Cook updates that reveals no new information. Dude, every day. Oh my God, it's looking more and more likely that Dalvin Cook's time in Minnesota is coming to an end. Oh wait, plot twist. The Vikings, they want to do right by Cook and send him to a place where he's going to be happy. Oh, actually, the Vikings are more and more open to the idea of Cook returning to Minnesota on a restructured contract. Oh wait, there's more. Cook is actually open to the idea of returning to Minnesota. I'm tired, exhausted. At this point, the only news that's worth sharing is whether or not he's going to be on the roster once it's made official. Has there been a more dragged out player situation with the Vikings than with Dalvin Cook? I can't think of one. But with the post June 1st cut, the Vikings jumped from $9.6 million to $18.6 million in cap space for 2023. The question then becomes what to do with that cap. Well, you could start by signing Dalton Risner. In fact, what am I even talking about? Hell, you don't have to wait for a Dalvin Cook release. You have enough cap to sign him right now. Ezra Cleveland, whose value is in run blocking, god-awful in pass protection for a team that doesn't run much in a league that's more and more pass-centric by the year, Ezra Cleveland is just not it at left guard. At no fault of his own, because in college he was an offensive tackle who then got drafted to be converted to a guard. And that's the wild thing about Rick Spielman. Spielman, who's an incredibly bright man, at times was too smart for his own good, especially when it came to the interior offensive line. And for the hashtag guards don't matter crowd, Rick Spielman was your messiah. I mean, let's not waste high draft picks. Go with later round scrap heap at the guard position. Drew Samir, for example, selected 114th overall. Or even better, let's stick square pegs in round holes. Let's convert tackles to guards. Because why? Hashtag guards don't matter. Oli Udoh, Tom Compton, Mike Remmers, Ezra Cleveland. The consistent mess that was the Vikings offensive line is part of the reason why Spielman got fired. Now think about this. Spielman passed on Jonah Jackson, who's going to get paid, exceptional pass blocker, one of the many reasons why Detroit has one of the better offensive lines in the league. He passed on Jonah Jackson, an actual guard from Ohio State, to draft a tackle to convert to guard. Spielman and the entire Vikings scouting department, who got paid bank. They can take as many vacations as they want the rest of their lives. They said collectively to themselves, drafting Ezra Cleveland to convert to guard gives us a better chance to win instead of drafting Jonah Jackson. That experiment, that theory over multiple players, it never worked. For Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, you can somewhat remedy that now by signing Dalton Risner. Although, it'd be interesting to know what their internal thought process is on 2023. Do we really believe that we can compete one last time with Kirk Cousins, or do we embrace the rebuild in competitive rebuild? Sign our heavy hitters to extensions, and then look at the competitive side in 2024. After all, Isaac Seumalo was right there. I thought signing him would have been a no-brainer for the Vikings. That contract he signed in Pittsburgh could not be more team-friendly. $8.25 million this year is what he's earning with a cap hit under $4 million. Are you kidding me? But Risner would be an upgrade over Ezra Cleveland at left guard. That requires, of course, making some tough decisions and hurting some feelings. But I'm going about this thinking that the Vikings are saying to themselves, you know what? Tough schedule, maybe too many holes to patch up in one off season before they load up in 2024, particularly in the interior offensive line. And even if they don't, if they say, we believe in Ezra Cleveland and we're going to pretend that the Dexter Lawrence play never happened in the first place, you know what? The days of me getting outraged over not putting a premium focus on the offensive line are over with. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Do whatever you want. Hashtag guards don't matter. Folks, we've got some new merch live, ready to ship to your door. Captain Kirk, the greatest defender of the Purples quarterback this world has ever seen. Get your t-shirts, mugs, and sweatshirts. Link provided in the description box of this video. And now it's comments time. DM says, a video like this is depressing for me because it reminds me of who we still have at quarterback. You know, I'm going to take the opposite approach here and be optimistic. This is in reference to the Vikings trying to trade up for Bryce Young, but Carolina, they took him first overall, so that was out. This isn't depressing to me, DM. If anything, this is uplifting because the Vikings, they tried to be aggressive. They understand what's at stake here. Kirk Cousins, he ain't it. We need our next franchise quarterback now, sooner rather than later. They drafted Jaren Hall in the 5th round, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. If it does, great. You can use your 1st round pick next year elsewhere. If it doesn't with Jaren Hall, okay. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Worst case, they're going after a quarterback next year. Eric Oslin says, good stuff, but are you siding with the logo or the player, or does it depend? So let me clarify. I support the logo in terms of what's going to give the team the best chance to win. Players be damned. Also money. If I'm going to spend money on flights, hotel, game tickets, it's to support the team. I'm not going to spend money to go and shout outside of a player's house, but what's going to give the team the best chance to win? I also support the player. Get as much money as you can. They don't even have to be mutually exclusive. Example, I think paying a running back beyond their rookie contract is absolutely ridiculous, except for in the case of Alexander Mattison. His contract is so team friendly, it doesn't matter. But in the case of Dalvin Cook, it's just not worth it for the Vikings that I support and love. I also don't believe he should be broke. If he wants to go to the Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills, if there's a team that he wants to go to and they're going to pay him what he wants, he should go there. I want him to be happy as well. Lastly, Yoshi Thief says, we need Jalen Nailor to be our 4th wide receiver over Jalen Reagor. End of story. What story? There's no story here. I completely agree with you, by the way. Nailor should absolutely be the 4th receiver over Reagor. In fact, the Jalen Reagor experiment last year completely bombed. It whiffed. It failed. He should see 0 snaps in 2023, both as a receiver and as a punt return specialist. In fact, the only reason he's even on the roster, it does more harm than good cutting him just because of the dead cap hit versus keeping him. After his contract is up after next season, they'll let him walk.